Alright guys, Rich here from the RC Network, and this is going to be a fresh unboxing of the Speed Energy 140R speed control. This is their newest 1/10 scale competition brushless censored speed control. Now recently I found Speed Energy online, and I've got to say their products are actually top notch. Now if you've been watching Tool Tuesday, I kind of unpackaged these new Pro drivers from Speed Energy, and I've got to say these things are so cool. Top notch quality and super lightweight. And if you check out my Facebook page, I actually did a weight comparison between these and the MIP. So just to give you kind of a real world estimate of how light these things are. But enough of these, let's get on to that 140R. Now of course this thing is packed with features, benefits, and bonuses inside the box. And that's kind of why I wanted to do an unboxing of this, because you don't see Speed Energy too much, at least on the state side of things. So right here, 140R, that stands for 140 amp speed control. So this pretty much can handle almost all of your 1/10 scale needs. Any of your touring cars, drift cars, on over to off-road, it'll handle your 2-wheel and 4-wheel drive buggies, and even some of your 2-wheel drive short course trucks. So keep that in mind if you're looking at this thing. Now of course this is fully censored, so you're able to run censored motors down to a 3.5 turn with no issues. Now let's get on to the back side here and take a look at some of the specs of this thing. I'm going to have a link in the video description so you can check it out straight over at Speed Energy. Now, as far as the input voltage, this is a 2S compatible ESC, so pretty much not going to be able to run 3S, but you can run some nickel metal hydrides if you happen to have those. 140 amp continuous, 800 amp pulse, so that's kind of like a peak amperage rating. 6 volt 3 amp BEC, 32 by 39 by 21 millimeter footprint, 48 grams, 3.5 turn 540 sized brushless motor, and then it takes a 30 by 30 by 10 cooling fan, which actually is included in the box. So right here, some of the features. Lots and lots of features that you'd find on a premium ESC. So variable drive, brake frequency, you can run this for stock, mod, support for zero timing mode. You can fully configure the throttle and brake response. There's just tons and tons of features. This is an all aluminum housing around the actual speed control, programmable by the LCD programming box that's included in the box. And you can upgrade the firmware throughout the life of your ESC. But enough of that, let's get to unboxing this thing and see what you get. Now this is available in both the blue version right here you see on the box, but I chose the black one. I like some of my ESCs and electronics kind of stealthed out lately, so that's why I picked this one. Now really a very nice clean box, and I know I talk a lot about boxes, but it does tell you about the company and what they're trying to give you. Now I've seen some companies that just literally throw the ESC inside the box, nothing protecting it, but this one is definitely different. So right here, let's take some of these things out and see what we get. Try and pluck out that ESC. We'll save that for a little bit later. And look at this, lots and lots of bonuses inside here. So we do have the cooling fan, like I said, 30 by 30, 10 millimeters high, pretty much just plugged straight into the ESC and it's powered off of that. Do have a capacitor kind of block right there that you do have to solder on yourself. You do have some screws here for the fan, so 4 of those. It does come with wires for hooking up to the battery. And then you also have some wires hooking up to the motor. So nice that they're different colors just to keep everything nice and neat looking. Inside here we do get some stickers from Speed Energy, which is nice, and also an owner's manual. So let's take a look at the first language in here, and it is English, so very nice. Right here is the programming box, and that looks like that just gets hooked straight up from your actual receiver. So got a little receiver port right there. Looks like it is powered off of the ESC, so you do have to have a battery plugged in. Just some simple buttons right there to get your programming on. But enough of those little kind of bonus things. That's all bonus these days in RC. Let's get down to this tiny little ESC. So right here you're seeing kind of like a little kind of divot in here where the heat sink is. All aluminum design, so we're talking about aluminum on the bottom, sides, all the fins are all aluminum, and you know, that's where the screws go in for the actual fan. Really nice here. You do have the fan port. Looks like you have some spaces right here for the LED lights. Kind of see that in there. There we go. The sensor port right there. Let's take a look at some of the wiring. We do have about an 8-inch lead right here for the actual receiver, so pretty much any 1/10 scale vehicle, you're set. We do have a switch right there with a kind of set button, and those are non-waterproof, so this is not a waterproof ESC. This is a race ESC, so keep that in mind. Kind of dig the kind of flag right there, 140R. Got the badging right there for speed, energy. All of the labels here, A, B, C, minus, plus for the battery. And what I really like about these, and I've started to appreciate this with age, is I like to solder all of my own electronics. And although I do appreciate when they're pre-soldered for me onto a board, these have nice kind of little soldering tabs here for the wires. So very, very nice. That looks like those will solder up very, very nicely. So, well guys, that is my speed energy ESC. I do have this slotted for my new D4 Sakura drift car, so that's what this thing is intended for. I'm going to be running a sensored motor in that as well, and I can't wait to show you guys this thing installed. This tiny little thing. God, this thing is so tiny here. I mean, you can see the fan, pretty much a 30 by 30 fan. It's super, super small. So very nice, top quality. Can't wait to run this thing and see how smooth it actually is. Well guys, that's it for the unboxing. Hopefully you guys have learned something in this video. Maybe I answered some questions for you, but if you still have some, feel free to put those on down below. And as always, thumbs up and subscribe. That's it for now guys. Over and out.